Red Dragon, Chris Casamassa. Lady Lightning, Christine Banon-Rodrigues. The BAM, Willie Johnson. And the Machine, Hakim Alston. Their Clash Peaceful Dragon Belt and Gold Dragon Star itself. World Martial Arts Council and the International Showcase Expo present WMAC Masters. And let me start it off this way. It's 30 years later. Did you ever think that you're going to be sitting here checking all that stuff, checking all that stuff out on the big screen again, and seeing how it connects with kids today and martial arts today?
Red Dragon?
Am I the official spokesman for this? No, actually, we never thought that it would last this long, and we appreciate all the support for sure. It was just a job for us. We wanted to do a good job, and we were moving on to the next thing, but you never know what sticks, and unfortunately, this is one of those things that stuck. And
No, and
it's an honor, actually.
Isaac, as the director of the show, when the elevator pitch came to you to helm this, what did that sound like, and how quick were you to hop on board, or were you like, what are you, crazy?
Okay, good question, because I was with Hien and Bridget and Rich Brandon. Who else was it? Ed was with us. Anyway, they were my Power Ranger team. We were in Napi TV in Miami.
Miami, yeah.
And they came to me, Hien comes to me and says, Isaac, we want to show you something really bad. The screen is in the other hall. We talked to the producer, he wants to leave if it's really bad. So they're dragging me, and I'm seeing something on the screen. It was the original idea, and it was really bad. It was, nothing was right, bad angle, bad ideas, and here comes the producer, and he's talking to me, and I don't know what to tell him, so I said, honesty is best policy. And I told him, listen, it's not good because I gave the reasons. A, B, C, D, basically the camera is in the wrong spot, the action is not directed well, the angles are wrong. So we're talking, and he asked me, he was a New Yorker, and he tells me, you live in LA? When I'll be in LA, I'll call you, we'll go to lunch. And I said, sure. I saw that movie, it's the Hollywood Baloney. 2 weeks later, he's in Los Angeles, he comes, he shows me a total new spread of this show. He listened to all of my advices, and I said, wow, if you're doing this, I'm in. This is how it happened.
That's awesome. And one of the great things about this show is that it was, at its core, celebrating real martial artists. And for those of us who grew up with it, seeing it on screen was such a cool revelation. And we're like, it definitely inspired a lot of us to take up martial arts. What was it like for you guys, though, as actual martial artists, to have to go up there and maybe do martial arts that weren't quite so real? How did you balance that between cinematic martial arts with the real martial arts? Anybody, please.
Hakim.
Okay, if I fully understand your question, you said how do we balance doing the filming with real martial arts,
Yeah.
right? To me, it's almost one and the same, because when you're participating as a fighter, the mental game is just as important as the physical game. Understanding how to sell yourself, understanding how to beat your opponent before you actually step into the ring with your persona, with how you present yourself, kind of worked hand in hand with actually trying to sell a fight scene. So when we were filming, one of my main approach to trying to bring the fight scene to life was to bring realism to it. So bringing that passion, bringing that fire. You see it. I mean, as we're doing some of these fight scenes, I mean, I am totally committed 100%. And it's you could, if you're a spectator, you can tell when something is just being acted versus something that someone truly believes. And I remember, I don't know if it was Isaac or one of the other directors, Pat, when we were doing this one fight scene, he said, basically, don't just do the scene itself. Don't go through the moves. He says, I want you to believe every single move. Believe every punch, believe every face gesture. And I think all those little tips in bringing that realism and the passion from the actual fight game into the actual set help you make that transition.
Cool. Very cool.
I want to add.
Yeah.
I want to add Hakim. He's saying the realism. I felt one of his legs in my shot, right? So it is real. There's stuff in there. Mr. Isaac here saying it doesn't look real. You gotta hit him. So I don't know. Tell you, there is some shots in there that looks. It is real.
No, let's stay on that though. Christine, go ahead.
Well, we're all competitors.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think we take that competitive nature on set. You know, like I want to kick and be faster than the other girls, and you know that I'm fighting with and stuff. So I think, you know, as competitors, we definitely brought that onto the
Yeah.
set as well.
Yeah. Master Bam, this was all real. This was all actual martial artists. There were no stunt people. Is that right?
No stunt people. We did our own stunts.
So when you're mixing it up, what was that process like to get it all right so that you weren't hurting each other, but still making it look impactful and like Christine was saying, full of passion, full of fire?
Well, I think one day we would come in a day early and you get a chance to rehearse the fight scenes with one another. And it was a little thing on the set where it was like one take Charlie, right? If you got to take more than one take, you know, you got to do some push-ups or something like that. So everybody was in competition to do that. So on the rehearsal, we were able to really work together. And like you said, by us being real martial artists, we were able to blend together, get good rhythm. And the very next time when it was time to shoot, it was just magic happening.
Yeah.
And I think that's because everybody's martial artists. And also, everybody wanted each other to look good. There was no egos, where I see a lot of things today you probably don't see so much humility amongst us. And we were competitors, competing against each other. So.
Yeah, touching on that. Yeah, please.
Something that I'd like to add, because these are people that are trained many years in martial arts and they're very good. You have the liberty or the opportunity to do continuous shots because you don't have to cut. That's something that is really hard because not only they have to be in good position for camera and good position with them, it's very, I mean, you get tired very fast. And if you do one mistake, you have to start all over again. So it's the privilege to work with people that are so well trained. And that's one thing. Second thing, there's a difference between real martial arts and theatrical because you try not to create contact. That means another thing that they have to add is the reactions. You have to be in place to react. That's something that you don't do in reality with block. So it added another stress and another layer to the amount of work that they had to do, which is very, very hard.
Yeah, for sure. Christine, this one's for you. As one of the few females on a pretty heavily testosterone-laden set, was there any added stress or pressure for you to show up and throw down?
No, I wouldn't say that, but you know, we really wanted the women to have more opportunity and be on the shows a lot more than what we were. We didn't get as much screen time as the guys, but it is what it is. But you know, we had a lot of screen time behind the masks because a lot of times we would play ninjas.
Okay.
On our off days, we would be the ninjas, and that was my story. I remember is Hakim dropped an axe kick out of me. And after they said cut, I had to lift up my mask, so he had no idea because I was one of the guys. But we got a chance to do a lot of film work that way too. But you know, it's always a challenge being a female in the.
Sure. Yep.
I want to say it used to be a male dominant. I think it's very equal now.
Yeah, well, it's definitely. Yeah, absolutely. And again, one of the things that the show did was kind of broaden the appeal of martial arts across races, genders, whatever, because it made it appealing for anybody to pick it up. And that had to be kind of important to you guys, though, as martial artists, to be representing it on screen, right?
Oh, definitely. And I myself. Is
It's good.
Okay,
You're good.
technical thing. I myself, I'm a martial art instructor. So I do is I get to see the next generation and to teach them. So that's a great thing, and especially we did Power Rangers, and people come up with, you did WMAC Masters too? So it's kind of great to see things come back in circles.
Yeah. Chris, I know you heavy advocate for martial arts, obviously, but there's also a component about anti-bullying that is something that we try to convey in martial arts, just out of respect and humility for your competitors and for your fellow students. How important was it to be a good representative of Red Dragon Karate for you?
Well, it was really important because my name on the show was also our brand.
Right.
So I wanted to make sure I did it justice out there.
Yeah. What about the?
Is there a cat in here?
A cat?
Yeah. I keep hearing like arrow. Is that someone's ringtone? Oh, they didn't play the please silence your cell phones before the show.
But what about the anti-bullying component?
That's part of my mission and passion right now. Is I'm traveling constantly, and I go teach bully prevention clinics to kids all over the United States, and actually pretty soon all over the world. Our website is bully.org, and my goal is to help 1 million kids become bully-proof, because I know what martial arts did for me and all of us here, but I wanted to impact more than the people in our local community. So I'm traveling all the time and doing it, but there's a ton of free resources on the site for parents, for teachers, for administrators, and it's my mission I'm on right now.
Excellent mission. Again, back to the show. Again, 30 years later, we're talking about it. What does it feel like to look back on that and see what you've done to further martial arts for any prospective martial arts out there?
Okay.
Why do you guys give me philosophical questions, right? Listen, I think this is kind of subjective, but I think that when we were doing the show, as Chris kind of alluded to, we had no idea of the impact that we possibly would have on the audience or even the next generation. We were just, again, besides the partying we were doing, we were actually...
Not me.
Did anybody catch that?
It was a big party at Keith's room.
It was just me and Hakim.
No, I'm being tongue-in-cheek, but at the end of the day, we kind of knew we were part of something kind of cool. And we knew that the message that was being conveyed, and I said this earlier, was a universal message in regards to teaching the humility, teaching the respect, teaching the dedication and the discipline, etc. So we understood how that message would hopefully be delivered. We were trying to deliver that message. And I'm gonna pause for a second because I forgot your question.
Just what it felt like to know that it still has an impact today.
Okay, all right. I thought it was
Yeah, you was good. You was good. Yeah.
Anyway, there's 2 keys to that. But yeah, I truly think that the impact is the message. I mean, the action and the drama and those pieces of it, that piece of the show was the entertainment piece of it.
Yeah.
And I think that the reason why the show has lasted with that enduring effect over the last 30 years has been the message.
That's a great message.
I'd like to add something, and this is more talking about film aspects, etc. First of all, I think that this show came about 5 to 10 years too early. Because I don't think that the audience, the American audience, whatever, was ready for it. And the technology then was not as good as now, especially because we shot in video. You could maybe overcrank, and it looked pretty bad, but you couldn't undercrank. That's one thing. I think it was one of the first shows that showed martial arts shown or shot in that direction.
Yeah.
For me personally, I use this show, and also the Power Rangers show, but this show as a lab, like a laboratory to experiment, and then later I use it in movies, like the Undisputed movies or the Ninja movies. It's for me personally, it was a lab. I wish that this show was done in 2000 and not in 1995 and 6 when it was done.
Well, there's been constant talk about rebooting WMAC Masters. If a reboot like that happens, would you want to be involved? And this goes for all of you. Would you guys want to be involved in some capacity and see some of those lessons come back to life on screen?
I think it would be cool as far as being like the grandmasters or whatever.
Yeah.
And I always said, when people were talking about doing a reboot, that a lot of us have kids that are involved in stunts
Sure.
right now that are martial arts black belts, and I think that would really be cool to have a lot of our kids against each other, you know, shooting them in the new seasons.
Yeah, that next generation, right?
Yeah, I think it's their turn because our backs are killing us now. And we're let it soar from the TV show. So I think it's your guys' turn to do the reboot.
Anybody down? Go ahead.
Chris?
Yeah, I think listen, Cobra Kai is over and it reignited people's passion for martial arts. So a show like ours coming back, I think now would be a great time for it. I'm with Christine. We can be the masters teaching a new generation. And then we can just sit and argue with each other. That'll be part of it, like a mafia table argument. And it'll be a good show. How many of you guys want to be in the show, by the way?
See, there you go.
Are you practicing? Are you practicing? All right, you got big shoes to fill.
I saw them doing stuff and they did some incredible stuff.
Okay.
Really.
All right, you're in. We got you. Little band for sure. All right.
That's cool. That's cool. When you look back over the memories, is there a particular memory that stands out for each of you? So I'll give you a couple seconds to think about it. But because, again, it was, like Isaac was saying, kind of a lab. You didn't know that it was going to have any staying power. You didn't know what it was going to be like as a finished product. It was just a matter of you guys getting out there and putting your martial arts on display and having some fun and partying, right? But when you look back, is there a memory that stands out that you think is kind of definitive of your time on WMAC Masters? I'll start down there with Hakim because I know he's waiting.
Yeah, I think there's a collection of memories, but I'll kind of summarize it. Some of my friends, lifelong friends, are here. So I think developing those bonds, really going through some of the challenges, understanding that we were actually doing something collective together, was powerful, and I think it was sort of lasting from that standpoint. I wanted to make one comment that when Isaac kind of came on board, we were, I think the first season was primarily with Pat. Pat was all about doing these master takes. I mean, and when Isaac mentioned how we literally, and you guys could attest to this, had to go through an entire fight scene, and the coordination and it had to be flawless because we would have to go through these masters, sometimes 2, 3, 4 takes, and we had to be in tremendous shape to do that. So when Isaac came and kind of started to section us off, it was like, thank God, because it allowed us to sell, and this is no discredit to Pat Johnson. I love him; he's a dear father to me. But it allowed us to bring more of the characters to life with more animation and more action. So I did appreciate that. That was very memorable. But yeah, other than the fact I was afraid of heights and falling off the ceiling, what was traumatic, that was it.
That's cool.
Yeah, I have to agree with Hakim. I think it was the fellowship. I think martial arts be so against one another, but for us to be on that show, we were together, family. Everybody had each other's best interests at heart, and even like today, how we all are able to sit here, so no animosity. So I think that if one thing, if we could get to the martial artists today, unity, working together, having each other's back, pushing each other. I remember, this is not a story from the show, but I remember I used to do demos, and I remember doing a demo with Christine. I used to always get hyped, had the music on. Y'all know me with the hip hop music. And we was at a demo, and Christine said, Willie, why are you so hyped? This is only a demo. It changed, man. You ain't got to be too serious, man. And I think when you have that sort of fellowship, you can take good criticism, not just about martial arts, but life in general. You know, even some criticisms from Mr. California over there.
Wasn't me.
Ditto. These guys are like my brothers, you know, we got a lot of time together. And Bridget and I were the two females that were there the most. You know, Murmur was there, In and Out, and Sophia, and we had Lynette,
Michelle.
right?
Michelle Mouse,
Yep.
right?
Yeah,
Mouse was
Michelle.
there for a short time. But her and I were there probably the most out of the females, so we just, you know, we're just one of the guys now, you know? So the friendships that, you know, we all knew each other in competition and stuff, but we got to really know each other on the show and be able to spend time together and create that lifelong friendship. Working with Pat Johnson is who I worked with on the first season mostly, and he's very, you know, intense, but you know, just totally opposite of Isaac. The first time I felt
Wait, did you say Isaac is not intense?
no,
She just said
no,
that.
totally,
I want to make sure.
you know.
It was a stupid ninja.
No, no.
That's Herb.
So working, you know, Pat would be very calm and talk to you very, you know, intensely, but not loud or anything. And then I worked with Isaac, I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, Bridget, what did I do wrong? You know, and she's like, that's just how Isaac films. He'd be screaming at you, louder, you know, so totally two different types of directors, and got a chance to work with both, which was such an honor. You know, so you learn a lot from both of them. And again, I can't repeat what these guys said, but it's just the friendships that we developed over the years, a couple years.
Cool. Come equip my own microphone. My favorite memory of the show is just being on the show. It was something I had always wanted to do. When I was a kid, Bruce Lee was my inspiration. And so being able to do martial arts on screen was a goal of mine. And to be able to be there and achieve that was awesome. And the flip is 30 years later, even today, people are coming up to my table and they're like, you were the reason I got into martial arts. Right? That is humbling and inspiring at the same time to hear that. And you know, guys, I studied all your moves and I watched you since I was a kid. And I'm like, that's really cool. And the other thing, like some of the other ones to separate, is the friendships that we created. I mean, me and Mike Bernardo were already really good friends. But Herb Perez, who I knew but hadn't met, and Hakim and I were on tour, on the pro tour together. He's a fighter, he was the #1 fighter in the country, and at that time was the #1 forms competitor. And you didn't really hang out. The fighters hung out with fighters, and the forms guys hung out with the other forms guys. But to be able to hang out with that guy, like he's become a lifelong friend, and to be able to fight him on screen too was really cool and really powerful. So just hanging out with the entire cast and bonding with them was an experience I'll never forget. Awesome.
Just know it. I mean, yes, it was.
He's gonna say his favorite thing was working with me. And I'm embarrassed already. I guess I'm gonna cut him off before I just stop.
It was a family feeling, and we had fantastic producers, Norman Grosford and Kathy Borland, and Ben Johnson was with us. May he rest in peace. It was a really fantastic atmosphere, and the fact that we were all in the same hotel, training and shooting, and it was really incredible.
That's awesome.
I have something specific. You guys remember Hien Nguyen Man? Richard Brandon?
Yeah.
Let me tell you this story about this one, because this is one I remember. We were doing a shoot, and we were doing this Guyver kick, right? And Isaac would say, it's a miss, it's a miss! It's a miss, you gotta hit him. I go, no, I can't hit him. So eventually I did hit him, but the funniest thing is, I remember this, they made an episode of me apologizing to Hien Nguyen Man.
And then I used the same kick in Undisputed too. I mean, Scott Atkins.
Yeah.
Boyka, yes.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of that, do you guys recognize some of the contributions that a show like WMAC Masters did for cinema and for TV? Yeah, go ahead, talk about it.
Before, when I came to the States in 1988, they used to shoot a master and a coverage. It doesn't make sense. because by the third hit you're not in good, you're in bad composition. By the 15th it's a miss. It doesn't look good. Because when you're doing action, you want to glorify the action. That means you want that the camera will be the right angle, that the action will be wonderful. So I remember fighting with producers in early movies and then in Power Rangers. I came after 20 episodes that we had to reshoot basically because they shot it in that way. And then when I came, we did it like the Japanese did. I came with Hien. We did it like the Japanese did, and we did, I don't know if you remember, a fight that was an experiment.
Yeah.
And they all were blown away that we can shoot like this. It changed, really, it came into American cinema, and now we see it in John Wick, and now everybody does it. But we were really the pioneers who did it, and we had to argue with many people to let them do what we want to do, which is the right way, than to continue the wrong way.
That's cool.
So, yes, that's true.
That's awesome. You mentioned John Wick. The WMAC Masters had such a positive vibe around it, positive message for martial arts. Is some of that kind of getting lost in the martial arts that's represented on screen now? Do you wish that that the martial arts that we see on screen now did more of what WMAC did? Or is it just enjoying the action for the sake of action?
You cannot generalize because there are good movies with really great action and there are some movies with not such good action, Yeah. But the fact is that now they're trying to do stuff more looking that way, maybe even better because technology is better and people are better, but that's the right way to go.
Has that been?
Hakim. Boy, Chris, you got no comment.
Again, you're asking me a question. See, here's the thing. I mean, I love being asked the question first because it gives them a chance to kind of formulate their response. And I have to just think off the fly. But no, I mean, I guess my take on that, and I can't come at it from the director's side. From the actor's side, I think that, again, as we are looking at what we did, I think there are nuggets of truth and nuggets of what works that I think that we did well, that translates, across time and across the current cinema. So I have to go back to, we relied on the directors in regards to all we had to do, and as a talent for anybody who's out there, you just have to do your job, and you have to do it well, and trust the team around you. And I think that we allow that to happen as the athletes and the talent there, and that I think that if that's something that translates into today's cinema, if you have a great team, meaning great directors, great fight choreographers, I can't even talk right now. And you have great talent, you're going to have a great product.
No, that's great. That's great. And one last question then. On days where you walked in, were you ever kind of in awe of the talent and the skill that you were working with? And now that you're here together, are you still in awe of the people that you got to work with and bond with? And what's the message that you want to
Well,
give to
I'm in
all of us?
awe just for what we did on TV over here. I think it's amazing. And what was the question?
Were you ever in awe of just
Yes.
working with you?
Well, we got to remember, too, we were all young. We were all a lot younger. So, and we just wanted the best. But then when you get older, you get more sentimental and all that stuff. So I'm more awe that I'm actually getting a chance to meet all these guys back again.
It's awesome.
Anything?
I have nothing to say.
I do have something to say.
Okay. We'll go down. Yeah. Chris. You.
Hakim said he
Hakim
wanted
said
to
he
talk.
wanted to talk.
Guy never talks. Let him
I will
talk.
follow the direction.
Okay.
No, I think that one thing that I'm going to just kind of pivot just a slight. When we first started, and Chris kind of made this reference, we kind of came in different silos. Fighters were fighters, cop guys we called them something else, but got the eyes of
I can fight too. He can fight too. Everybody up here can fight too, right?
So, but there was, I say that with respect to, you know, as athletes, you are narcissistic, okay? It's all about you. So when we actually came to the set, there were these big egos. And Ben kind of said that those egos weren't there. That happened over time. And as we learned to look at each other differently and respect with the differences that we brought, it pulled down those egos and we became egoless. Is that a word?
Yeah, we'll take that word now. Yeah.
As a unit. So I think that allowed us to kind of, I think kind of break down those barriers and become, you know, the brotherhood that we are.
That's fantastic.
What was the question again?
What were you at all?
Yeah.
I think for me, someone like Isaac, I still do that when I introduce him to the students and talk to him. Sometimes he brings me to tears because he's just such a very important part of my life on this show and beyond this show. Because, you know, I do independent films, but the person that got me to start doing it was Isaac.
Nice.
I mean, when it's set, like we all have stories where we thought Isaac was just this bad man, just yelling and screaming. He was screaming, you know, one more, you know, come on, you just killing me. Willie, you're killing me. I just remember his words. And I remember the first time I talked to him, I said, I wasn't mad. I didn't mean to make you think I was being mean. I just wanted the best from you. And that transpired into our relationship today. So all because, and I say this again from my heart, it goes beyond the screen. He's just a good man. And he not just there with the films, but with my kids, with my wife, with everything. And I think that's what everybody here. I mean, I think we all feel that energy where it's like it's real family here. That's awesome. So that's what I'm truly in awe with right now. Even all of us competing against each other. To sit here being on the same team with him, Christine, you know, everybody, even Chris, you know. I don't say that like even Chris. I didn't mean to say it like that, Chris. I didn't mean to say it like that, Chris. Yeah, I just, that's it, man. I'm gonna leave it alone with that one. Even Chris, I'm gonna leave it.
I'm in the world watching years back all that we accomplished and all the different styles that came together because you had Taekwondo, you had, you know, with Olympic style and Wushu and like Hakim said, fighters, forms competitors, and just everyone coming together, boxing. I still can't believe that we would put in, because it was a non-union job and it was like up to 15 hours sometimes we would film. And then we'd go back and take a shower and go, wow,
What shower?
I put in a 12-hour day now. I'm like, how did we ever do that? It was nonstop physical activity.
That's
and
cool.
then, you know, and get up. It would turnaround time, the moves like what? It wasn't definitely was not a 12-hour turnaround. But it was just a great experience and just led to so many other things down the road. And it's like Chris said, it's great when you have people come up to you and say, you know what, you know, I really look up to you, and you're the reason that, you know, I felt like I could do this and pursue the martial arts and stuff. So
Very cool. Final word with the Red Dragon.
Even Bam. I was gonna be nice. But I was in awe of the set. I mean, it's hard to see because the video, you know, it's not high def and stuff, but the sets, we were actually filming at Universal Studios in Orlando, Florida. And the coolest thing was our show was part of the tour. Like, we'd be filming and the tour train would come by and watching us. And so we were kind of performing in front of a live audience all the time. And that, again, that whole experience was just, especially when you look back on it, you know, like Hien said, we were young at one point. And you don't appreciate it then. I mean, it was cool, it was a cool gig, but looking back on it, man, it was just, so the whole experience was really cool.
That's awesome.
And I got an action figure out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Amazing experience for sure.
And the audience were there, especially when I used to get mad at everybody and yell at everybody.
I think I speak for everybody here that we are in awe of you guys and what you guys did for WMAC Masters. Thank you guys so much for talking with us, inspiring everybody out there to go out and get their own Dragon Star. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. Give a hand, guys. WMAC Masters.
Thank you, everybody.
clan rocks the world.